Hi, everyone. How you doing today? Mary Ellen Van Auken, Susan Jennings. Hi, Sue Jennings.
Hi, Mary Ellen. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you? We're the real estate ladies of North Atlanta, and we have some great stuff to talk about today. We are going to talk about renting versus buying, which is better for you. Then we're going to talk about our neighborhood highlight, which is Silverwood by John Whelan in Cumming. Then we're going to talk about what we love about North Atlanta, which is the Cummings City Center. And then we're going to talk about our design tip of the day is mixing metals. So some exciting stuff to talk about today. So Sue, let's talk about Silverwood by John Whelan. And I know it's a brand new community. They don't even have pricing out yet. Is that correct?
That's
so
correct.
So we don't know how much it's going to be. So but we can tell you about it and and keep you updated. So if you are interested in this great neighborhood, let us know. All right.
Right. So Silverwood's going to be in Forsyth County, and there's so much that Forsyth County has to offer. These are going to be beautiful two-story homes with rocking chair front porches and generous sized lots.
I love rocking chair front porches.
Right.
So nice.
The streets are going to be lined with sidewalks and have a charming footbridge over Big Creek.
Wow.
Yeah, and Big Creek Greenway is right around the corner from there for people to walk, run, bike. So having direct access to that is amazing because it's a scenic 20-mile trail that everybody just loves, and it connects to Alpharetta and it connects to Roswell. So there's 65 acres in Silverwood. And the community is just 5 minutes off of Georgia 400, which is the primary corridor that goes down to Alpharetta and then down to Sandy Springs and into the city. It's just 3 miles off of Highway 9. So Highway 9 sort of parallels 400. It was the highway before 400 was built, but there's a lot of shopping and grocery stores and conveniences along Route 9. And the community is also less than 5 miles from Fowler Park, which is an 85-acre community park with baseball fields and pavilions and basketball courts,
I love
softball
Fowler
and baseball
Park. It's
fields.
my favorite. I run in Fowler Park all the time. It's amazing. It's really great.
They've got a state-of-the-art skate park there, which is really unique, and just really easy access to trails for walking and biking as well. Silverwood is also close to the Cummings City Center that we're going to be talking about in a few minutes.
Nice.
So I don't know whether I should give all that away now or not.
No, we're going to have to wait. The suspense. You have to listen to what's going on in Cummings City Central.
The center, yeah, right. So swimmers will also love Silverwood because it's conveniently located to the Cumming Aquatic Center. And it's also 11 miles from Lake Lanier for boating and water activities and water sports. And there are a ton of employers in the Forsyth County area, very close to where Silverwood's going to be, such as the Northside Hospital in Forsyth, Tyson Foods, Scientific Games International, Cook Foods, and Siemens Industry.
Nice.
So it's just a little bit north of Alpharetta for those that, maybe work in Alpharetta, want access to Alpharetta, but want the convenient low taxes in Forsyth County.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about renting versus buying, which is better for you. So it's really interesting. So I'm excited to hear what we have to say about this today. So let's dig into the topic of the day, renting versus buying.
Right. So number one on our list is financial stability. You've got to look at your own financial situation because buying requires stable income, good credit, upfront costs include such as, down payment, closing costs. Long-term affordability is really important when you're considering buying in your financial situation. Renting, on the other hand, is ideal if your income's unpredictable, or you're saving for a down payment, perhaps, to be able to buy a long-term property. Upfront costs are lower. You've just got a security deposit and maybe first month's rent. So that's the big difference financially between renting versus buying.
Yeah, and I think you have to look at the big picture. I find that rents are very high here. They keep getting higher and higher. So if you can afford to purchase a property and you have the funds, I think that's a better route. I did see this year a lot of relocation people that are renting instead of buying because they want to learn the neighborhood and learn the areas. So that might be a reason why you do rent, is if you want to figure out what school system I want to be in, I want to, what neighborhood I want to be in. I want to build a house. I want to, find that right house. So that would be another reason to rent if you are relocating and, coming from there. So,
right. So length of stay is the next consideration on renting versus buying. If you are buying, it typically is a, good idea to try to stay at least 5 years in one spot. I mean, that does vary. Things do happen. Job changes do occur, but it allows you time to build equity and to offset some of those transaction costs if you stay at least 5 years.
yeah.
Renting, on the other hand, is better for short-term or uncertain plans. It offers you a lot more flexibility without the commitment of home ownership.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like you said, say if you're only going to be here for a year and then you're moving somewhere else, like, you're going to get transferred in 2 years, it might be better for you to rent, so it's just really up to what you want to do. So length of stay is really, and number 3 is
market conditions.
Okay.
So you want to consider, the North Metro Atlanta market in terms of their housing trends, including home price appreciation, rental growth rates and expenses, and interest rates. Of course, none of us have crystal balls to know exactly what's going to happen with any of those. So it's anybody's best guess.
Yes. We don't know.
But buying in a rising market could mean that you're going to be building equity a little bit faster, while renting might be preferable in a high price market that might cool down in the future. I have yet to see that around here.
Yeah. No, I agree. But you know what? There are markets that are going down now. So you have to, you have to look at that. This isn't only for the Atlanta area. Yes, we're talking about it, but you have to take this into consideration if you're moving to other parts of the country, whether it's California or New York or Texas or Wyoming, wherever you're moving to, right? You have to look at these factors as well. So the next one I like, this is good, lifestyles and goals.
Right, because buying, there's a certain intrinsic value of being a homeowner. That's a goal that's high on a lot of people's list. It offers you a certain amount of stability. You're able to customize the property on your own. You potentially have some tax benefits there. It's good for those who are seeking a long-term investment and personal control over their living space.
Right.
Renters, that's ideal for clients who value flexibility, who want lower maintenance and responsibilities of their property, or just aren't ready for long-term homeownership.
Right. And, and that's the whole thing. I think a lot of people, when they rent, they're like, oh, I can't paint the colors I want. I can't hang photos. I can't do this. I can't do that. So, I mean, you have to look at that in your lifestyle. But on the other hand, you don't have to worry about taking care of any of the maintenance of a house if you're renting. So,
right.
There in your lifestyle. And your lifestyle might be you're really, really busy, you're working, you're traveling, so you don't have time to do it. So that might be a better option for you.
Right. So if you're considering buying versus renting, one thing you might want to think about is costs beyond the mortgage. So with buying, you've got property taxes, you've got insurance, property insurance, you've got maintenance and potential HOA fees. If you rent a property, you're typically limited to just the cost of the rent and any utilities you have to pay, whether it's water or electric or anything like that. Because most landlords will handle the maintenance.
Yeah, and like HOA fees, right? So if you're renting, you don't have to pay those HOA fees. If you're in a townhouse, the landlord's paying that. But if you own the townhouse or you own the house, the HOA fees for the neighborhood, you have to pay those, right? And you have to pay the taxes. So that you have to look at those things as well as, just taking care of, besides the mortgage, you have lots of expenses that you have to handle too.
Right.
And having that slush fund of if something goes wrong, like Murphy's Law, right? You move in a house and what happens? Something breaks the AC. It's in the middle of summer, the AC is working fine one week and the next week it's not working, So those are things that always seems to happen. So you have to be prepared. Be prepared.
Right. Right. So another thing to consider if you're thinking about whether to buy or to rent, you might want to consider the investment perspective of the entire property. Buying is an opportunity to build wealth, particularly in the North Metro Atlanta area. We have a lot of growing markets, so buying is very favorable here. Renting, however, may allow clients to invest savings otherwise, if housing isn't their priority.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. Investment. Talk about building wealth or throwing your money down the toilet. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey,
when it comes to rent,
there's a whole world of renters that are meant to be renters, and there's a reason for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
okay.
It's okay to be a renter. There's nothing wrong with being a renter. You just have to, there's advantages and disadvantages to both. So you have to figure out what works in your life the best. So,
so the last thing on our list, as far as whether you should buy or whether you should rent, is consider your emotional readiness. Homeownership comes with responsibilities like maintenance and repairs, while renting offers a little bit more freedom and fewer obligations. So we always encourage our clients to evaluate their financial goals and their current situation, and also talk to a mortgage advisor, talk to a financial advisor, and really get tailored advice and weigh the pros and cons of each before you make a decision, so that you're able to make an informed decision.
And let's just talk a little bit about renting here in Georgia. That majority of places, I would say 75 to 80% of places, you have to rent a property for 1 year, and you're stuck in that lease for a year. You're not stuck. I mean, yes, you can pay to get out of it. So you have to make sure that when you're in, that when you're up, and also you have to make sure that your landlord can't sell the property while you're, give you 60-day notice, and then you don't have no other choice but to find another rental or find a house to buy. So there's a lot of aspects that go around renting that you have to protect yourself in. So we don't have a lot of, shorter term rentals here. You can find them. Don't get me wrong.
We can find them. We do generally find them for like relocating executives that have to move at a certain time of the year, and maybe the home of their dreams is not available yet, or they haven't sold their home in the city that they're coming from. And in those cases, there are apartment complexes that will rent for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, something like that. But as far as renting from an individual owner, those are generally only 12-month properties. As far as rental lengths, you can get a longer period than that. A 2-month lease is not uncommon. And but there are very few Airbnbs here as well. And in any of those properties that we have that are shorter term, like I mentioned in the apartment buildings, some of those are not furnished, but we can arrange for furniture to be rented and brought in so that you have it for the 2, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is that you're going to be in the property. We can make those arrangements. That is kind of costly. And you can expect to add at least $1,000 or more to your rent for furnishings that are rented to be added to the property. But in general, the shorter the length, the term of the lease, the higher the rental cost is. But the properties do exist, and there is a need for it in this area.
And really reach out to a real estate professional if you're renting something, just so that they can look at the lease and give you some guidance, because some landlords have their own lease and there's a lot of loopholes, and sometimes people sign something and they don't realize what they're signing. So really reach out to us professionally. We can give you guidance and say, this is what this means. You know what I mean? Are you okay with that? And if you want to get out of the lease, that's the first thing I ask people when they're renting, and they're like, I want to buy a house. Well, when's your lease up? Okay, my lease is up here. Well, can you get out of your lease with 60-day notice, with paying? What is the condition on that? So that's important to know too, with timing, because a lot of people will come and then they'll be renting and they want to purchase a house and they don't know when to start. So that's another thing that you have to look at your lease. And are you okay with paying extra to get out of your lease if you give notice, and do you get notice, or you have to pay the whole lease or whatever? So just you just really have to look at the numbers and look at what you need to do. So in all, renting versus buying, there's some great advantages and disadvantages for every person. I think that what you have to do is look at your situation where you are in your life right now and which is going to be the better route for you, and then just go with it and keep yourself a budget. And it's the same thing. There's lots of rentals that you can see online if you're coming from out of state, and you can look what you can get for that, what that price point is. You can see what you can get. And sometimes you'd be surprised that you have to pay a lot more to get exactly what you're looking for, in the right school system, in the right condition. Because remember, renters do not take care of a house like the owners do. So a lot of times when properties have been rented, they're not in the best condition that they can be.
Right. And, people often misunderstand, you get what you pay for with rent. If you're not going to have a budget that, is very high, you're not going to be living in, the best of areas necessarily. So really examine your budget if you're going to be a renter, and make sure you're putting yourself in a safe situation and one that really meets your needs.
Yeah. So, all right. So I think we really kind of nailed that there for you. So do you have any, if you need any advice on should I rent or should I buy? And, we can give you some guidance and connect you with the right people on that. All right. So we're going to talk about what we love about North Atlanta. So what we love about North Atlanta is the new Cummings City Center, which is really fabulous.
Right. It's a 75-acre area that's on the west side of downtown Cumming. It's walkable to the downtown Cumming area, but it's made up of very unique shops, one-of-a-kind dining opportunities, a community park, and it does feature regular entertainment. It's truly become a great spot to shop in, to grab a drink with friends, sit back and listen to a concert. I mean, it's something that Cumming really needed and finally has, which is great.
Yeah, and there's even like in Alpharetta, there's a couple places like Avalon and downtown Alpharetta. Still also in Cumming, you've got the collections, and then you have the Cummings City Center, and so they're making these areas that are shops and restaurants and places for community to gather. So I think that that's what's important, is that a lot of these cities in the North Atlanta area are finding these areas to make a more community orientated that they've never had before. So it's really a great place. I love going up there. They've got all kinds of restaurants, all kinds of cute little shops, and, supporting locals is really important here. So I always say, go to those places and support the locals. You can find the local owners. You can find great gifts, and also themed gifts, like for the South, if you're looking for Southern things and, stuff from Cumming and stuff, you're going to find it there. So it's always some great places to go there. So, so definitely check it out. And now we're going to go into our design tip of the day, and we're going to talk about mixing metals. So, some people have traditionally thought, well,
I only have this color hardware, so I have to stick with this color hardware throughout my entire home. You really don't. Like in a powder room, for instance, it's okay if your faucet is one metal finish and your light fixture is another, or that your doorknob and your hinges are one color of metal and the faucet's a different color metal. It actually makes the space a little bit more interesting if it's not so matchy on having all the same metal color throughout. You can really create a striking effect by mixing metal colors and mix and match and make them look great. Just have some fun with it. And yes, you can do gold hardware, but it needs to be the brushed gold. The satin gold is what is in style, not the polished gold of the late 80s and early 90s. But that brushed gold does go with stainless steel appliances. So if you have, a stainless steel Wolf range, you can put the brushed gold faucet on your sink and the handles on your cabinetry, that sort of thing. But, and personally, I think chrome is another great feature that you can put with black as well, if you want to.
Yes,
and black
definitely
is a great metal finish that you can use. So play around with it a little bit and have some fun.
Well, and also just have some fun, like in the kitchen, like, nowadays everything's like we've got different granite countertops on the island as we do on the thing, and different cabinet colors. And so people are mixing and so much. So mixing and matching metals, why not? Right. And you know what? It's for your enjoyment.
Right.
So if this brings you joy, then you do it. Right. If you're like, okay, I want to sell my house, and we come in and go, you know what, can we just switch that out? But, it's for your enjoyment. So remember, your house is for your enjoyment and your joy. If it brings you joy, then do it and mix and match things and do whatever colors you want. So, it's just when you want to sell, you have to just make sure things are more on the neutral side, that it attracts every kind of buyer.
Right.
So I think that's what's really important. Right. So thank you for that bit designer tip of the day. So today we discussed renting versus buying, which is the right way for you to go. I mean, it's really a personal choice, and we're here to guide you in the right direction. We talked about the new neighborhood, Silverwood, by John Whelan, and that's going to be in Cumming, and it's going to be great, but we have no pricing on it yet. But I'm curious to see what kind of price we're going to have there, but it's a great location. And then we talked about Cummings City Center and all the shops and everything. And it's really just a great community place for the community to come together. Lots of activities always going on in there. And then we talked about mixing metals, So just how you can take metals and in your powder room, in your faucets, and just kind of mix in and have fun. And if it brings you joy, then that's what you need to do. So again, thank you for listening to us today. Susan Jennings, Mary Ellen Benakin, the Real Estate Ladies of North Atlanta. Follow us on social media. We'd love to connect with you. If there's anything you want us to talk about, reach out to us. If you have a business and you want to talk to us, we'd be more than happy to do that too, because we love talking to local businesses and helping promote your businesses as well. So thank you for listening. Have a great day. And thank you very much. And thanks, Sue. Have a great day.
Thank you.